Welcome to Compelling Conversation. I'm your host, Dush Ramachandran, and today I have a very special guest for you that I think you're going to find super interesting. Have you ever thought about the idea of superheroes and having superhuman powers? You know, like when we were kids, we used to be so fascinated by people that were superheroes. We read superhero comics and we found it so exciting. But would you believe there are actually people just like you and me who have developed these superhuman capabilities? Sound unbelievable? I got a great guest for you today. Let me introduce to you our guest, Lee Holden, who is the creator of the docuseries Searching for Superhumans. Welcome, Lee.
Hey, thanks, Dush. That was a great intro. I love what you said because it is so true that we're all looking for some innate capability and capacity that we have within ourselves. And we're fascinated by this. I mean, if you look at now the movies, the comic books, everything from Star Wars to Harry Potter talks about this. And it was just our passion to go out and find people with real superhuman qualities that have pushed the human potential, pushed that envelope into to see what's actually possible.
So this is really cool. So you actually traveled all over the world to find these real individuals, and you interviewed them on this docu-series. Is that correct?
That is. We went to 9 countries, and we found a lot of people with very interesting abilities. I mean, we see this in our athletics, in our entertainment, dance performers. We see people with superhuman capabilities, but in the energetic and the healing arts and the martial arts and the spiritual arts, we haven't really showcased this yet on video. And that's what we wanted to do. And we found some amazing stuff.
I bet, and I can't wait. So let's talk a little bit more about this for a minute. So these are regular, everyday people, maybe not everyday people, but they're superhuman people that have cultivated superhuman capabilities, but people not unlike you and me who have achieved these amazing feats. So very quickly for our viewers, what specifically have they done? I mean, how did they achieve this? And is this possible for anyone to achieve?
Right, and that's a great question because we all have innate capabilities. And I think a question that people can ask themselves is, what am I capable of? What's within me when my power and potential gets lit up? And that's what these people have asked themselves. And they have trained it like an Olympic athlete. There's a lot of these people that have trained 5 to 8 hours a day, meditation, yoga, breathing exercises, to access the power and energy that we all have within ourselves. We don't all need to be Olympic athletes. A lot of what this docuseries is about is how to lead happy, healthy, fulfilling lives. In the same way we can go out for a jog or a swim, but we don't have to win a gold medal in the Olympics to really find purpose in our life. So that's kind of what this is about. We're showing this as an inspirational piece because you can watch this and go, wow. Then you could say, well, what am I capable of? And how do I use some of these techniques to enhance my life? Some people are born with these capabilities. There's an innate power maybe that they're born with, in the same way that if you're born 6'9", you're probably more likely to play basketball than if you're born 5'2". So there's some, congenital things that these people are, but they train very, very hard to develop these capacities within themselves.
So, the other thing that comes up especially at this time that we're all going through with the COVID-19 pandemic, and, people are worried about their immune system and how can they protect themselves. How can they not become sick? Because this is not a simple thing, and from everything we're hearing, it really does damage your entire health should you be unlucky enough to get it. So I imagine some of these people also have superhuman immunity. Their immune systems are super strong, I would imagine. So do you have something in the docuseries about that?
Absolutely. You know, I interviewed Wim Hof, and Wim
Yeah.
Hof is the world record holder for being submersed into cold water. I mean, freezing cold, you know, Mount Everest cold ice lakes for 2 hours without any metabolic change. And he was the one who showed scientifically that he was injected with, you know, a bacterial, infectious bacteria, and nothing happened to his body. So we have those kinds of techniques, and these just enhance your immune system. So we do want to supercharge our immune system. We want to supercharge our bodies, our minds, our energy systems for what we're capable of. And your body has tremendous healing capacity that isn't talked about because, let's face it, big pharma is a big business. And if we're all lit up and have superhuman immune capabilities, we're not going to get sick as much. It's not great for that kind of business. So these techniques, first and foremost, charge up your body and charge up your immune system. I think now it's more important than ever before because these techniques are thousands of years old and they work really well, and they work preventatively. That's how this medicine has worked in Asia for thousands of years. In fact, Dush, you would pay your healthcare practitioner as long as you were healthy, and as soon as you got sick, you stopped paying.
Sure.
So the whole thing is about supercharging your immune system, because the healthcare, it's true healthcare. They want you to be healthy most of the time, and if you catch something, it's only for a little bit because your immune system, your energy system is so strong. And that's one of the courses that we give with the episodes, is how to charge up the immune system, because it is so relevant right now.
That's amazing. So just for our viewers, if you're interested in checking out this docuseries, it's called Searching for Superhumans, and we'll post a link down below. You can go click it and you will have the whole thing. But before we get to that, Lee, there's there's all kinds of these different superhuman capabilities. There's and I did have the opportunity to check out a little bit of the docuseries. There's a gentleman who is able to set fire to a piece of paper by just the force of his mind. There's this person who's able to move objects with the power of his mind. There's another person who's able to create an electric spark. So there's all these absolutely fascinating things. And, you know, seeing is believing. You know, often we can talk about these things and, you know, people go, as I would go, I don't know, that sounds interesting, but it's probably some fakery. Do you have a clip for us? Anything?
I would love to show you a clip. I want to show you a clip by a Balinese priest. Okay. And he's able to generate so much electricity in his body that it lights up a voltometer, and you can even see it. He holds a leaf because his energy is so strong. He holds a leaf and you could see the spark coming out of the leaf. And in fact, we had a scientist traveling with us to make sure that it was all legit and above board. There's no trick photography. We don't do too many cuts, so that we can really just see what's going on. And you know, take a look at this for yourself.
Okay, let's look at the clip.
All of us dreamed of having superhuman powers, but I wanted to know if they are real, and I've spent all my life searching for genuine superhumans in every culture on Earth.
I am here to try to get a pearl of wisdom that will endure time.
I have lived, slept, ate, practiced with Buddhist monks, Buddhist nuns, Buddhist yogis, Buddhist hermits, not just the Buddhist, also the Hindu ones, Hindu yogis, Hindu tantrics, Vedic priests, the Vaishnava Swami, Paramahansas, every kind of shaman, from South Americans to Siberia to Mongolia, all the way down into Africa, the Hindu Panchamatis, the Papua New Guinea flame holders, the Borneo Dayaks, the Mesoamerican Naguals. And then I studied with Christian mystics, hesychasts, Gnostic, desert hermits, all the way into China with the Taoists. Martial arts of all kinds. I learned hundreds of Kung Fu forms, studied with countless Qigong masters. After decades of searching, what did I discover?
We are all here to answer one primary question. What are the methods that you have developed, the mind that defies time and space, the subatomic field which we are all made of.
What we are observing is so much more than it appears to the eyes.
Этого достаточно, начали я ему пробил.
Marina, a Russian superwoman with X-ray vision. Awareness to control space and time in extreme situations.
No, please don't start the ritual before I get there.
Yeah.
But no matter how hard we fight for things, one day it will all be gone.
But there is one exception. Mine cannot die because it was never born.
Who are you? Do you know? Most people, when asked this seemingly simple question, go blank. It is one of life's greatest mysteries even science cannot answer, for the you is nowhere to be found.
See, years ago, I witnessed masters emerging from retreats with blades of grass protruding from their skulls, and I wondered why. You have learned to focus your mind, make it appear, move it, and now you dislocate it from your body entirely.
And you realize that you are not dying. You have been born into a broader reality.
That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. And this is all real, right? There's no camera tricks, there's no special effects or anything, because, you know, Hollywood has made us so blasé about anything spectacular happening on film, but you think, yeah, whatever. I mean, if you watched Iron Man, or if you watched, you know, Guardians of the Galaxy, you see all kinds of special effects, and you think, oh, sure. Now you've come to accept it. But this is real, right? There's no camera tricks, nothing.
There's no camera tricks. And this particular master, he doesn't even want to be known. You know, we had to really convince him to get on camera and show us this. And I feel like people can see the authenticity of this man in his eyes, in his whole demeanor. And I got to experience it myself, Dush, and it is absolutely mind-blowing, and it's incredible. I think as you watch this, watch it with an open mind. You can even have that skeptical mind, but throughout history, we've talked about masters that have superhuman capabilities, whether it's masters from Eastern traditions, Buddhism, Taoism. Christianity is full of masters that do miraculous things, and this is our human capability. This is our human potential. It's our birthright. We need to tap into that.
And you know, what I love about this is it's so uplifting. You know, it's not the usual doom and gloom that you hear on the news and in the media. Every day you open the newspapers or you turn on your TV, there's bad news, and there's, you know, shootings and muggings and, you know, car crashes and all kinds of bad news, you know, and, you know, there's the pandemic, all these kinds of things which just bring down the level of your vibration. And I think this is an amazing docuseries that actually lifts you up, because it shows you what your true capability as an average, normal human being is and can be. And it's so beautiful. Now, so in the docuseries, do you take people through how they might be able to achieve something similar in their own lives?
Yeah, that is so important too, because you see these people going and doing things that are absolutely incredible, but then how is it relevant to you? How is it relevant in igniting your immune system, clearing your stress, recharging your life, giving you a different perspective? And that's exactly what we wanted to do. Is we wanted to uplift and elevate the human spirit. We wanted to first inspire you and say, wow, is that real? Is that true? can we all really do this? And then it's not only about the individuals that are creating this elevated capacity within themselves, but it's what we can do together. Because let's face it, there is a lot of problems out in the world right now, and what we need is people that are turned on to their potential, working together for a higher vision of what we can create together. And that's what really inspires me about this piece and this movie and producing this, a work like this, is that it really helps to bring our questions and our inquiry in the right place, so that we start to cultivate energy in the direction that we want to create a more compassionate, kind humanity and elevated energies and elevated spirits, so that we live with joy and happiness and compassion and kindness in harmony with nature and the world around us.
That's amazing. And you know, the other thing that when I went through looking at the docuseries, the other thing that I found that was really interesting is that you also have, in addition to what, people might consider somewhat sensationalistic, you've got, all of these superhuman feats being performed by various people, but you also have interviews with some great masters, people like Deepak Chopra and Bruce Lipton and so on. So how do those interviews tie in with these spectacular, superhuman feats?
Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to go around the world and find people in the caves of the Himalayas and the martial arts masters in China that you never hear about, and really find what they could do and film it in a really high-end way. And that's what we did. Then I wanted to go to some of my mentors, people that I've been on staff with and trained with since the mid-90s, like Deepak Chopra, Mantak Chia, Tammy Simon, Bruce Lipton, Dan Siegel, these neuroscientists, as well as in modern energy masters that are so popular, and ask them what they think about the human potential. And they had some fascinating things to say, especially the neuroscientists and the quantum physicists. The Western scientists are sometimes more mystical than the mystics. And that's what I love about it. So these interviews that I have that we'll put into the episodes are truly amazing, and they give a lot of credence and credibility to what you witness. When you ask a neuroscientist and a doctor, what they think of the human potential, and you hear their answers, and then you see what we found, it all lines up.
And I think that's super powerful, especially looking at that just that little clip there. You think, wow, if you can actually do that, how do you do that? How do you harness the electrical power within your body? And, you talk to a neuroscientist, for example, Bruce Lipton often says there's like 1.4 volts of electricity in every cell of your body. And you've got several trillion cells. So imagine the amount of electricity that's coursing through your body. And all you need to do is to figure out a way to harness that energy and bring it out. And that's amazing. And you've captured that. See, this is what makes it so special, because it's not just, talking about it. It's not writing about it. You've got it down on film. That's awesome. And so let's take a quick little change and talk about your origin story for a minute. How did you come to be making this movie? Are you a movie producer by background? What's your deal? What's your story?
Right. Well, I'm a Qigong practitioner. Qi means energy. Gong means skill. So working with energy in a skillful way. And I've been studying with masters from China and Southeast Asia for 30 years. It started for me when I was playing collegiate soccer. I had an injury. Western medicine wasn't working. So I looked to the East. I got acupuncture. I did Qigong exercises. And all of a sudden, I was healed and back on the soccer field. Well, that moment was a catalyst for me to want to pursue these healing arts. And I got hired as a ghostwriter in my early 20s. So I did about 12 trips to Asia, and I started seeing these masters with tremendous healing powers, tremendous energetic powers, and I became fascinated by it. And one of the people that I was studying with from a very early age was the man you see in the movie, David Verdesi. He and I were friends and colleagues since 1994. We met in Thailand studying Qigong. And, you know, about 1999, David all of a sudden disappeared. He was training with a master in China, and nobody saw him for about 8 years.
Wow.
And when he emerged, he had been studying and living with these masters that have tremendous electrical abilities. And after 8 years of very intense training, he was one of the only Westerners to develop that electrical capabilities. And I was fascinated. I was like, hey, man, you got to teach me this stuff. So I went and met him, did some trainings. One thing led to another. And the producing team of the movie The Secret contacted me and asked me if I knew anybody with extraordinary abilities. And that's how this whole project got started. And they had a very large budget to go and film this movie. And we started working together. I put them in touch with David Verdesi. They went off and filmed all around the world that you'll see in this docuseries. I was kind of an associate producer at the time. One thing led to another, and I became, you know, the head producer of the project and took the project to where it is now. And yeah, so it's had some incredible people working on it, and a very high budget for the first part of the film. So you'll see some incredible footage taking a look at these people with extraordinary abilities.
That's amazing. And the rest, as they say, is history. That's awesome. So this has been fascinating. I'd love for our viewers to take a look at the docuseries. It's searchingforsuperhumans.com. So we'll put a link down there and you can go check it out. Lee, thank you so much for your time. It's been delightful having you, and you know, come back and talk to us again when you've got another movie in the making, but this is going to be a blockbuster. I can see how this is going to be huge. Thank you so much for everything you do, not just for this movie, but for uplifting all of mankind and its vibrations. Thank you.
Thanks, Dush. Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.